Hey man, how you doing?
Hey, hello. Everything's okay? Everything's set?
Yeah, where are you from?
From Poland. We actually
I'm in
talked
Holland.
2 years ago when you released the first Temple of Blues.
Oh, cool. All right. And now
So
we got the second.
yeah, so back then we covered like the whole concept of the album. We talked about Cactus history, your drumming career. So this time
All right.
we can focus solely on Temple of Blues, the
Fantastic.
the
Let's do
second
it.
part. Okay, so the first part was recorded in various locations, and you didn't physically meet in the studio with all of the musicians. So what
Right.
was the situation like with Temple of Blues, the second part? Has anything changed?
Same thing. All the same. Nobody was ever in the same room together. And I just started in my studio making the drums and the arrangements. Sent them to Artie Dillon, my guitar player. He put guitar parts and the bass and sent it to my singer Terry. He put the vocal on. And then we had demos. And then we had to look around, see who played what. And with Dee Snider, I asked him, I gave him a couple of songs. I said, which one do you want to do? And he picked Little Red Rooster. And did you look at the video?
Yes.
Pretty wild, right? And that was all, Dee was all AI,
So you, so you,
except for the singing, except for the singing. All the storyline with in the car with the girl, I mean, there's all, look, the rooster goes in and thing comes out as a beautiful redhead. That's all AI, you know?
so you fully embrace AI because many musicians think
Yeah,
about this.
and TGI was used to put us all together, in front of the shack in the fields, you know, and D and everybody in front of the shack singing and playing, that's all real. Everybody singing and playing. But it's done by TGI like we did King Cobra, and it makes it look like we're in one place. And then D driving the beautiful car and picking up the rooster that turned into a beautiful redhead. You know, it's came out great. Now my problem was that if D didn't like it, with him being AI, that would have been the end of the video. But when I sent it to him, he said, "Wow, it's freaking amazing." I said, "Great," and he likes it, so we're good. So I'm happy that he liked it. We released it, and everybody that's seen it loves it. The storyline's crazy. It goes in, comes out a woman, then it says temporary only, and then at the end, these sparks flying, and the rooster turns back into a rooster. Now the woman turns back into a rooster. It's pretty funny, you know.
And
He
were
can
you
do anything. I said to my guy, I said, when the rooster walks in there, make it like Frankenstein. You push the button, the sparks and all kinds of smoke and sparks, and you open it up, and it's a beautiful redhead.
and were you surprised by retirement of Dee Snider? Because after all, he first announced the return of Twisted Sister, and then he said like, "Well, I'm too old for this shit."
Well, this might be the last track that he recorded before he had to retire. Which he sang the best on these, like Evil, my last album, and this track. He sounds much better than he sounds with Twisted Sister. I mean, he's singing R&B blues, and he's great, great voice, great voice. I know him a long time, and he's a great singer. He's a great singer. The Twisted Sister was just, what he had to do at the time to make it, but he's much better singer than that.
And did you use the same drum kit as on the Temple of Blues? Because you've mentioned before that you used, for example, drum kit that was a drum kick that was used on the first Cactus album.
Yep, that's the same thing. Same bass drum, same tom tom, same snare drum, same studio. In my studio, the drums never move. They never go out and play. They just stay in the studio, and I got the same humidity and air conditioning on, so the drum heads stay the same. The tuning stays the same, so I can go in and put in a track today, and next week I can go fix it. It'll be same. It'll be the same sound. You know.
And the first Temple of Blues focused on classic Cactus compositions, and the second focuses on a different kind of classics because you have, for example, Dixon and Wolf. So where did the desire to delve in such classics came from?
I'm not understanding. You're talking about the vocals?
No, in terms of choosing the tracks, because this time you choose like the fundaments for blues music, like Willie
Blues.
Dixon
Well,
and Howlin'
yeah.
Wolf.
Well, the album's called Temple of Blues, so it's got to be blues. The last album we did all Cactus songs, and we had three Cactus songs left over. So we did those three Cactus songs that I thought would be good on an album. And then there's an album called Howlin' Wolf's Electric Album, which Jeff Beck got the album from Jimmy Page a long time ago. Jimmy Page gave it to Jeff. Jeff gave it to me. I took the Cactus song Evil off of that album, which became our biggest song. And I love that album. The drumming on that record is great. And Morris Jennings, an old blues drummer, fantastic. What a cool drum sound. And I said, you know what? We need 7 songs, right? I'm going to do 7 songs from that album, which is real blues. Howlin' Wolf, Willie Dixon, it's their real blues. So we did it, and I basically not copied totally, but I used their arrangements as the basis. Like the drum part he played was the basis for some of the songs. And I did those and then developed it into my own thing. And it came out great. It came out fantastic because I love that album. Now I'm hearing all these songs done heavier, but still bluesy with all my buddies.
And Willie Dixon died in 92 and Howlin' Wolf in 76. Have you got the opportunity to see either of them live?
Say again? I didn't make that.
Dixon died in 92 and Howlin' Wolf in 76. So
Okay.
did you had the opportunity to see them live?
I never seen them live. No. I was never really that much of a straight blues fan, but this album, because of the great drumming and the different grooves and arrangements, I loved it. You know, I mean, I used to see BB King. We played gigs with BB King when I was at Vanilla Fuzz when he was just coming up as a more of a pop guy, you know. But and it was cool. But this album was so great. If you ever listen to it, you'll hear all the resemblance that we did on this album to the original, and it's really killer, really great. What are you
And
drinking? Tea?
T.
Yeah, water.
So 2 years ago, you already said that you're gonna invite a little less number of guests on the next album. So why the change? Why did you wanted to have like a
What, different people, you mean?
no a little less guests than on previous album?
I'm having trouble understanding. Say again?
On the 2 years ago, you said you wanted to reduce the number of guests on the next album.
Oh, yeah,
So
yeah,
why the
yeah.
change?
That was from the label because more songs you have, more artists. They have to in the LPs. They have to do 2 LPs, and financially, they didn't want to do that. So they said we need 10 songs for the LP and an extra song for the CD. So that's pretty much why we did that.
And 2 years ago, you also said that one of the guests that you wanted to have on the first Temple of Blues was Steve Morse, but he couldn't do it because his wife was sick. But
Yes,
this time you've managed to get him on that stuff.
and boy, he played so good. When we did that song, it's an old Cactus song from the Hot and Sweaty album, and it was a funky kind of song. So I needed a keyboard because it was based off keyboards. I got Derek Sherinian and Tony Franklin myself, and Jolene Turner sang the hell out of it. It was freaking great. So when we did the solos, I think 3 rounds of the solo for Derek, but with Steve, I did an extra round because I know that he's great on building a solo, not just going in soloing. He's like start slow and get better and better and better. And when I heard the solo he did, I said, wow, he is so good. He is so good. And he enjoyed it. Everybody, pretty much enjoyed playing with everybody else, because you don't normally do that, you know. It's usually you play with your band members or your guests maybe once in a while on something else. But this album it's all the same, everybody plays with everybody. And like Billy Sheehan never played with Eric Gales. And Eric Gales is a monster. A lot of people didn't know Eric Gales, and when we did that song, and when I did it, I always start with the drums. I think I told you last time I start with the drums and then gradually goes from the drums to my guitar player. Artie will redo it. He'll put the bass and guitar and the drums, and then we'll send it that's the demo. So I sent that to Eric, and he played and sang it fantastic. And then it was an up-tempo part. He sent it back, and there was nothing there. I said, "Why didn't you play that?" He said, "Well, I thought that was for the drums." I said, "No, that's for you to wail on." So I gave it back, and he wailed. And then we gave it to Billy Sheehan after the fact that me and Eric played on it, and Artie played some rhythm. So when Billy heard some of the stuff that Eric was doing, he joined in on his solos on certain lines. That sounded fantastic. I didn't expect that. I thought that was amazing. So that kind of stuff to me, like that, and Steve Moore's solo and other stuff that happened, like the uh, Cactus and Melanie, you know, her voice sounded so good when the Cleopatra wanted us to do Cactus with her, and I did so much, listening to it. And when she screamed, she sounded like Janis Joplin, and the song she had in the '70s, whatever, about the roller skates. This is a long way from the roller skates, the song. And it was great the way it came out was really fantastic.
Yeah, because Melanie's song Purple Haze wasn't recorded with Cactus album in mind. Have you met Melanie during her career?
On her?
Yeah, I mean, did you met her
No, I
personally?
didn't. No, I never met her. But after she died, a Cleopatra label, they had the rights to her vocals. So when the owner called me and said, I'd like to do Cactus and Melanie doing Purple Haze, I couldn't. I went like, what? And then he sent me her vocal, and I said, wow, this could be great. So then my engineer, Pat Regan, took it and stretched the click with her voice on it. And then we said, okay, we're going to do X amount of bars would be the song. And then when it goes to the solos, like 32 bars down, let's cut the voice out so we can do the solos first, however, 16 bars or whatever it was, and then come back with the voice. So we had to edit on the click where her voice was going in and out, and then I put the drums to it. I made a drum arrangement, like the beginning, like a Who kind of thing, boom, with the chords and everything. And then we put it all together. And Tony Franklin played bass on it. My bass player, James Computer, was out of town. He didn't have time to come back and do it. So Tony did it. And Tony played with Cactus a bunch of times. So he knows what we do. And he knows me very well. And I know him very well. So he did a great job. And then when we finished it off and mixed it, my engineer, Pat Regan, man, it sounded so good. And I said, and when she came to her voice screaming, amazing. She was amazing.
And 2 years ago, you told me that the first person you're gonna invite for the second Temple of Blues is gonna be Michael Schenker because you played
He didn't want to
on
do
his
it.
on
He
his
didn't
album
want to
with
do it.
UFO. So what happened?
What a rat. I played on his albums for cheap. And I said, you play on mine. Then his lawyer, manager, whatever he was, said, no, Michael, he don't want to do it. I said, oh, man, thank you. I won't do you anymore. Don't call me to do you, you know? I mean, one hand washes the other. All these guys, I told them when we do it, I said, if you need me for anything, give me a call, because we're all played for cheap. Everything's one price for everybody. It's called favorite nations. You can't give somebody 1,000 and the other one 300, and then if they talk, everybody gets pissed off. So everybody, we tell them up front, everyone's getting this amount. Everybody, no matter if they're bigger or smaller or whatever, everybody said fine. It's like Michael. I did 2 tracks for you for the price of one with me. You know, That wasn't nice.
Maybe he was busy with his new album because he released an album like a few months ago or something like that.
Yeah, yeah. I only heard, if that's the album I played on, I only heard the two tracks.
No, the new one. The entire
This one
because
before?
no, because he released the album with you with UFO covers, and then like a few months ago he released an album with completely new material. So maybe he was busy with that one.
Oh, like a compilation album.
No, new, completely new tracks.
Oh, new. Oh, okay. So I'm not on the new. I'm not on the new album. I was on the
Mm.
album before.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Yeah, okay, but still, he owes me. And he didn't come through. That's not good. I mean, he said he'd play on it. Then I call him. And go, no, I don't want to. I can't do it. I don't want to do it. So okay, don't call me anymore.
Mm. And I was kind of surprised that one of the guests on the Temple of Blues.
Hold on. My watch is calling me, talking to me.
Okay.
Shut up. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Okay, so one of the most surprising guests on the Temple of Blues Part 2 is Alex Skolnick from Testament.
Yes.
I didn't know that he is a blues player or a blues lover because he has like a jazz project, but not a blues one.
Well, jazz came from blues, you know, and I knew he was a great player, and I thought it would be interesting to put him on a real blues track, like a Willie Dixon track, which it was. And with Rudy Sarzo on it, Rudy played on it first. First, we had the demo, where Cactus played it. And then Rudy put the bass on it, and it was very stiff. And I said, Rudy, open up a little bit. He goes, well, who's going to play on it? I told him it was Alex. He said, well, wait till we get Alex on it, then you can redo me. See, that's the beauty of all this. It's like a painting, you know? Okay, I said, so we did that, and then we had this straight Rudy on there, and then Alex played to that. And then after we did it, then Rudy did his again. And it was a little more open, but Alex was fantastic on it. I said, wow, listen to this. You know, for me, it's great because some of it becomes a real surprise. Like Alex was a surprise, and Billy Sheehan and Eric was a surprise. Jolene, those guys were a bit of a surprise. You know, Ted Nugent was a real surprise because the old days, the way we used to record guitars is like, and Ted still does it. He still does it. He'd record 3 tracks and he'll give it to the engineer to put together. So that's what he did on this one. But what I like about Ted, he always added a cool rhythm part, and his rhythm part was really cool, just like on One Way or Another on the other track. He changed the rhythm track. It sounded cool. This one was kind of similar to it. It's all like Stranglehold, it's in that same ballpark. And when I heard it, I said, wow, that sounds good. So that was the rhythm. And then I said to my engineer, what about the solo? Because he sent me like 3 solos. So I have to weave through it and put it together. But I knew I wanted somebody of old school bass player. So I got Bob Daisley because it was old school kind of blues, And I know Bob was a blues guy. So them two together was great. And then my singer, Ed Terry, sang on it. He was awesome. A great voice, So it's really like a puzzle, You put this one with that one, and that one with this one. I hope it works. If it don't work, let's try something else,
And coming back to Alex Skolnick, are you a fan of thrash metal or maybe it isn't your cup of tea?
I like the thrash metal, as they call it, because it was fast drumming, you know, and cool. And I like he did Trans-Siberian Orchestra, didn't he? Alex, I think he did at some point. I heard other things he did that were not like that, So I knew he was a guy that can play a lot of different styles. But either way, his solos on Testament and his solos like on this, it was a bit similar. And I figured if we can get that style on this, it would make it maybe a little strange, like on like when I did my guitars, I had Mick Mars was going to play slide, but you never hear him play slide. And the lead singer was Edgar Winter. So he wanted to play with Edgar Winter. The same album, Envy Malmsteen wanted to play on the track that Doug Pinnick sang. You know, so you get all these weird combinations. So it's kind of the same on this stuff, you know. You get a little bit of weird combinations of people, like on Token Choking, like it's supposed to be a slide guitar. But Bumblefoot was playing fretless guitar. All that stuff was fretless guitar, no slide, but it sounds like slide. And we got Johnny Rod from King Cobra, which is off the wall, playing that track, which Johnny can pretty much play anything, you know. So it was a pretty wild mixture of people and things, you know.
And the CD version of the Temple of Blues Part 2 has a bonus track, Feels So Good. So why only a bonus track? Is it because due to the limitations of the vinyl?
Which track you talking about?
Feels So Good, because it's labeled as a bonus track on the CD version, but it isn't on the vinyl.
Oh, Feel So Good.
Yeah.
Oh, I almost couldn't get that. Feel So Good. Yeah, we needed an extra track. Like we did 10 tracks, and then the extra track would be 11. So I thought it would be good to have a lot of people on that extra track, you know. And originally with Cactus and Feel So Good, I did a drum solo. That was my drum solo song on the record. I didn't want to do another drum solo on a record. I've done so many of them. I thought, let me think of something really cool. So I thought it'd be cool to play the whole song up to where the solo would be. Instead of a drum solo, we came up with a cool riff and we did guitar battle with Britt Lightning from Vixen and Tommy Thayer from Kiss. You know, we did 2 bars, 4 bars, 4 bars, 2 bars. And then it went to this other section. We hit a gong and went to this other section, which I wanted it to be kind of like A Whole Lot of Love in the middle section of all the crazy noise and stuff. I wanted it to be like that. And I had this guy that me and Pat Regan are working with. He does spoken word, you know, talking, right? And I had him go, feel so good, you know, in there. And it was all kinds of stuff. I had my brother, I had Nico McBrain, I had Todd Zeckerman and Roxy from Vixen all play some drums, but we EQ'd them so it don't even sound like drums. It just sounds like noise, you know? We go like, you know, but don't sack a drum. Mike Portnoy also we had. And we put all this in effects, and Billy Sheen every 8 bars, did Tim Bogert like with fuzz tones and stuff every 8 bars. And then I had a theremin, woo, woo, all that stuff. And I did some harmony going, feel so good, you know, putting it all together. And I went to my little snare drum. So the snare drum all of a sudden moves to the left, you know. And then we put it all together and just make a totally crazy section. Then when it's done, it peaks and goes back into one more chorus and then ends. You know, I thought that was cool. I thought to put that as the bonus track because there's all these different people on it. You know, does that make sense?
Yeah. And the release party for the Temple of Blues Part 2 took place at the Arcade Theater. So what's the story behind this event? Because it was also a charity event.
Well, why we did that, we wanted to do a big event for the day the album came out, which was that. But we also wanted to try and put it together and give money to big charities, which the guy that I work with, the spoken word guy, they had a foundation that he was connected to, and he said, "I can give you money to make the show and pay everybody, and then whatever is made, we can go to charities." So that's what we did. So we got all these people, you know, I thinking, well, who could make it, who can't make it? So I started phoning people. Billy Sheehan, yeah, I'd like to do it. Tony Franklin, I'd like to do it. Pat Travis, yeah, I'd like to do it. There's a couple of people that couldn't make it. I can't remember who it was. But we ended up with Tony Franklin, Billy Sheehan, the Cactus Group, Pat Travis, Bumblefoot, Doug Pinnick, and my singer from my Rod show. He sang what Dee Snider was going to sing. Dee was going to do it. But when he retired, I was left with nobody to do those songs that needed a raspy voice, you know. And I know my singer from my rancho is a great MC, you know, master of ceremonies. He can, you know, talk to the people and, you know, get them clapping and yelling. So I brought him in to sing these songs and to do that. That went fantastic. He did a great job. And then you had Eric Gales, and unbelievable talent. And Billy never played with him. I never played with him. You know, I played with Bumblefoot, I played with Doug, I played with all these different guys, but never played with Eric, and Billy never played with Eric, and I never played with Billy live. So this was kind of really cool, you know. So when we were rehearsing, we had the song Backdoor Man. We did the three songs that Eric was going to play, Little Red Rooster, Backdoor Man, and I think Tail Dragger or something. So we did Tail Dragger, and then we did Backdoor Man. And it was such an amazing energy that when we did Little Red Rooster, it went like this, you know. So my singer, Rob, said, you know, I don't think we should follow Backdoor Man. I said, you know what, you're right. So let's move it more towards the end of the show. And then we can follow it with a high energy Cactus Boogie, you know. So that's what we did. We moved it to the end of the show, and it was phenomenal. The end of the show, between that and the boogie, and then we went on and brought other people on. We did Do You Think I'm Sexy, then Heavy, like I did with Pat Travis. And then we did Long Tall Sally, which, you know, we had everybody on the stage with those two songs. And the audience stood up for the whole 2 hours. From the beginning to the end, they were standing up. It was fantastic. It was a great show. And then we gave thousands of dollars to the charities. So I was very happy about it because, you know, one time it was an idea in my head, you know, just like the albums were a idea in my head, and we did it. And we had the show, an idea in my head. And my manager said, okay, we'll put it together. And we did it. And here it is a month later. People are still talking about it. We also videoed it and we multi-tracked it, audio. So shortly, we're going to see what we got and see if we can put together a show that maybe sell to, I don't know, Access TV or Netflix or something. And whatever we make will go to the charities.
I was gonna say that it would be great to release like a live video or or
Yes.
Blu-ray release.
Yeah, yeah. So we're gonna have a look at it shortly. I mean, I just came off, you know, after that show, I went to California. My son just had a baby. He's my first grandkid. His name is Luca Carmine, Appice. It's a great name. Anyway, so, and then I came home from that and I had a couple of days, and then I went out on tour for 10 days with Vanilla Fudge. I just came back with that. Now I'm doing interviews every day until Monday. So even if we had it, I wouldn't have time to look at it. So we're gonna work on that next. My manager also manages Carl Palmer, so he's out with him. So he's done with him Saturday. So he'll be back. So we're gonna try and order up the video and the audio and see what it sounds like, see what it looks like. And if it's good, I'm not sure we should have, we didn't, we should have interviewed everybody, you know, but maybe we could do it now, you know, like tell Billy Sheen, we need, these are the questions, could you answer these questions? Or everybody, Eric, can you answer these questions? Or blah, 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 you know, or maybe have the same questions for everybody. What was it like to play with people you never played with, to meet people you never played, you know, met? And we had a talk around the table after the dinner. It was me, Eric Gales, his wife, Billy Sheen, and Doug Pinnick. And we're just talking about other things, stuff I didn't know about with everybody, and that they didn't know about with me. And it was really nice. It was really camaraderie with everybody, you know.
And we've always wondered what would happen if you joined Rainbow, and now we can find out because you are part of the ultimate tribute to Richie Blackmore's
Oh
Rainbow.
yeah,
So,
I know.
how you became part of this endeavor?
What, the tribute or
Yeah, the tribute.
well, the tribute's on the label I deal with, Cleopatra. That's my friend's label, and I have a contract with them to do 10 sessions. You know, It's like right now I'm doing William Shatner. We're doing Crazy Train, you know, crazy. But I just got the stems today. I'm going to work on it probably over the weekend. But so they just asked me, "You want to play a track?" I said, "Two tracks or one track on Rainbow?"
Two tracks. Two.
I thought it was two track. Want to play two tracks on Rainbow? Sure. I said, "Sure." I never played on it. I should have been in it, but I couldn't do it. So now I end up playing on two tracks. It's fun. And we also did a Deep Purple track. I did Hush. I don't think that's out yet. And it's fun. For me, it's fun. But I got the studio and I can do it. If I had to go into a studio and set my drums up and get a sound and all that, forget about it. It's not worth it. Because it's the same thing. It's the favorite nations. Everybody gets the same money. It's not about the money. It's about having some fun, to play these tracks. And I understand there was another track that was just released with what's his name? The guy that's singing with Twisted Sister now.
Mm.
From what's his name? I just went blank. Anyway, come on.
From the tribute album,
Yeah, no, he's going on tour with Twisted Sister.
Dee Snider from,
No,
but
not Dee Snider, not Dee Snider. Dee Snider retired.
Sebastian Bach.
Yeah, thank you. There's a track with Sebastian Bach and me
Yeah.
and a whole bunch of other guys doing some track. I don't even remember what it was. It's out now. And people are telling me, wow, it sounds great with you and Sebastian Bach and all. So I heard the track. They sent me the track. I listened to it. I said, wow, it sounds pretty cool. It's another like hard rock. And I consider heavy metal starting with Metallica, you know. Before all that, it's hard rock. The crunchy guitars, the guitar buzz tone guitar and the double bass following guitar. That's what started heavy metal. Everything else before that, Motley Crue and Van Halen, Blue Murder, everything's hard rock, heavy hard rock. Okay, heavy hard rock, but metal comes from the guitar for me. Anyway, but it was a great track, and I do all these tracks for Cleopatra. I like it. It's a lot of fun. My brother did. He did. I think he played on a bunch of tracks for them too. I can't remember which tracks or what band, but it's fun. I used to do that in the 80s when Cleopatra first came out. They first came out. That's how they made it. They did all these tribute albums. I played on a bunch of them.
Yeah, Vinny played with Graham Bonnet and Marty Friedman, and let me check.
On
And
Rainbow,
on Rainbow, and with George Lynch.
and who? Doug Aldrich.
George Lynch from Doc and the Lynch Mob.
Oh, right. Okay, and I played on two tracks. And then there's a Deep Purple one coming out. I don't know who played on that. And I played on a Thor record, a new Thor, but I thought it was pretty boring. So the producer said, do what you want. So I did what I wanted. And then the label said, why'd you do that? And you should just play straight. I said, because the producer said, do what I want. So now like they said, I'm going to call the guy later. He says to play on this Ozzy thing, Crazy Train. I said, should I play it like I played with Ozzy? He said, yeah. But then another email says, but play straight. I said, come on, it wasn't straight playing it the way Ozzy did it. There's a lot of drum fills and stuff. So I'm going to call him. I go, look, if you want me to play straight, then, just don't, I won't play at all. I did what the producer said. You weren't the producer. You guys are the record company. You should have told the producer to tell me what he wanted. When you say, do what you want, it was an up-tempo thing like this. I made cut time. I made it more interesting. And then said, no, we want it all up-tempo. So, okay. So we re-edited it and made it all up-tempo with my engineer, Pat Regan. But, I don't appreciate him saying, well, just play it straight. Now, come on, dude. I never played anything straight in my life.
Yeah, you wanted to Accept
Yeah, I
wanted
didn't
to
play
play
on
you.
that rainbow, on the rainbows. I didn't play straight.
Yeah, you told me that Accept wanted to play. You wanted
If you want
to play
straight, put a
simple,
drum
and you
machine.
couldn't do it
Yeah, put a drum machine. When I played with who?
with Accept. They wanted to play like a drum machine, like very simple, and you couldn't do
What
it.
was the name again? What's the name of the band? I forgot.
Accept.
Yes, in Germany. Right? Well, you know a lot about me. Yeah, that was really horrible because that's the first time I ever played anything, and they said, no, that's not right. It's not right because it was all regimented. Ticka, 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 ticka. I didn't play like that. I played a little behind the beat, with the groove. But yes, I never did that again.
Okay, so this is all that I have prepared. So thank you very much for your time, and
Okay,
have a great day because I see that beautiful
thank
weather
you.
up there.
Good fun, good fun. I appreciate it. A lot of my history is fantastic.
Yeah,
Thank you.
I've been to Cactus concert when you play in Poland. I actually have your drumstick that you threw up to the public.
Oh, really? Oh, great. Thank you so much. I'll
Okay,
see you again.
bye.
Ciao, bye-bye.